And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Mammoth After Hours. I'm Andy Lindahl. As always, we've got Connor Robinson jumping on, coming up to chat with you here today. Always great to get a chance to talk to Connor Robinson, one of the regulars here on Mammoth After Hours. Hopefully, you're finding us easily as we've kind of made the switch here to different YouTube channels. My radio station, for those of you that don't know, that are maybe just lacrosse fans, is Altitude Sports Radio. So you're going to be able to find us on all their channels going forward. So hopefully everybody will be able to jump in and have some fun with this. And, this is our regular thing now. Mammoth get a bye week. They're about to take on a Las Vegas team that, well, frankly, they're struggling a little bit. But quite honestly, when Las Vegas struggles, they get a little nervous. We'll talk to Connor about that. They've always had a few really good games against the Mammoth. They seem to play them tough. And there are some connections between the two that I think also lead to kind of just a natural, friendly little rivalry, even though Vegas is such a new club. We'll welcome in now our guy from up north, our man Connor Robinson. So, Connor, we're on the bigger platform now. We had to get you back on again. But how did you enjoy the bye week? Unlike me, did you stay healthy?
No, I think it was 12 hours into landing home from Georgia. I was in bed sick, so kind of good timing that it happened during the bye week, but bad timing that happened to get sick. But fully recovered now, which is nice.
Look, we all deal with it, but how tough is it? I always feel for you guys because, again, I haven't had a chance to travel with the Mammoth. I wouldn't mind if I could, but that's just not how the league's set up. We do home market broadcast crews everywhere you go. But I did travel with the Crush, and we traveled about the same time of year as the NLL season is, right? And dude, you're on planes, you're on public planes. How do you find a way? Do you have some secret formula to try to avoid most of it?
No, I think that's the big question we always get asked from people who don't know what the schedule is like. And it is tough for the first couple weeks. It is tiring staying in the airports long hours, kind of doing those grueling travel days. But to make it a little bit easier with the guys, which makes it nice. And then at the end of the day, it kind of gets in a routine where we kind of know what our day is going to be like, so you can plan ahead and prepare, and you kind of know the travel is going to suck, especially when you kind of guys like us from Vancouver are flying to the East Coast, like Rochester and Georgia. So just plan ahead. And I mean, we've been on planes so many times now. I lost count of the flight number, but you get used to it after a while, which is kind of nice. The flights home, not so much. We 6 a.m., no sleep, back's killing you, and just the next day is always a wash, no matter what time the flight's at.
Do you do a lot of airborne? What do you do to try not to catch every little thing that's out there, especially like it felt like the flu season got started early this year?
Yeah, I think the best thing we can do is just trying to keep as healthy as we can be. I know our bodies are going to get banged up, playing the game and the travel. It's going to suck with the germs floating around the airplane and around the airport. So just do what you can to stay on top of the fitness, stay on top of, eating healthy and making sure that you can control everything that, it can just kind of limit you from getting sick. And I mean, obviously people are going to get sick, but just try to keep it as small as possible. And I mean, you can still kind of get through it if you're feeling a little lousy, but it's just stay on top of it. And if it comes, sucks, but you got to get through it.
Well, all right. So let's talk about Georgia. I always find Georgia interesting. That's one of those places. I used to talk to the outdoor guys about trying to play in Georgia and Florida the last year of the Major Lacrosse League that probably not a lot of people remember, but boy, they talked about in the summer trying to play in Florida, a couple, three, whatever they played, however many games they played there. It was kind of brutal. They said the Georgia environment, though, was pretty interesting. Watching your game back from a couple weeks ago, it looked like they had a pretty good crowd. I mean, it's obviously a growing sport down there, but it looked like folks were into it. I saw Mammoth jerseys all over the place, not only your normal gear, but some of the St. Patrick's Day gear and all that. What is it like in Georgia right now playing? What's the lacrosse scene like down there?
It's definitely a trip to get down there, but no, like you said, the fans they're not filling every single seat, but the fans that are there are a lot. They're passionate, they're getting after it. We saw a lot of teams there from different local Georgia lacrosse associations, and I think we saw a couple universities there. So they did have quite a few thousand people there, and it is nice to see that lacrosse is still kind of growing in Georgia, and they still love box lacrosse because it is still relatively new down there. I know they've been there for a couple of years, but still a lot of people still have been exposed to the game of box, and it's only field down there. So it's nice that they're kind of in a rural area, a little suburban, to get kind of the local mom and pop just down the street. So I think that's a good thing, and they got a great arena. It's just it's a pain to get to since we're from Vancouver, so it's directly kitty corner from North America, which is the only
Yeah, that's a
downside.
long flight. I didn't even think about that. That's got to be a little bit of a nightmare. What did you guys take away from that game? I think you guys have been really good stopping runs, not letting the other team have a big run, not letting another team go and get their momentum. It felt like in maybe the second quarter, you guys, I think you led 4-0 or 4-2, and then they had a little 4-goal run there, but you guys answered back. I mean, what did you take? I mean, Georgia, they've dropped off a little bit as I check the standings, getting ready for the game. They're now a little towards middle of the pack. There's a whole bunch of teams middle of the pack right now, but it feels like every time I watch, your offense continues to perform. What'd you guys take out of that game?
No, I think Georgia's a really good team. And like you said, there's so many teams in that kind of middle of the road where it's really tough to distinguish between the top teams and the middle teams and the lower teams, where not every game's going to be, there's no game that's going to be an easy night. Like, it doesn't matter if you're first or 14th, like, everyone's going to give you a hard night. And if you don't bring your best, then you're not going to win that night. So I think Georgia, they're a really tough team. They're a really good squad. They got Joey. They got great guys on the O and D side. But no, our offense is just fantastic. I mean, you can game plan to stop 2 or 3 of us. You can't game plan to stop all 7. And I mean, you want to stop Zeddy. Sure, Ryan and CK are going to pop off. Sure, you want to stop Eli, me, Will, Vels. We're going to be there attacking right there. So I think just having so many dangerous options and just knowing that if one guy's going to be covered, we have the players to have the ability to find the open guy and to bury those shots. So it's so much fun to play. And the bye week was tough watching lacrosse and not being able to play, but I'm really excited to travel tomorrow and see the rest of the guys.
I am curious. I don't know if I've asked you yet. When I think back to the championship season and I think about the offense, I think about you and I think about Ryan Lee. And I know Eli got in there and I know Zed got in there and I know a whole lot of guys did contribute that year too. But for some reason, you and Lee stick out in my mind. What's it been like having Lee back this year?
It's the best. I mean, having Ryan my first year there was awesome. Him kind of showing the league and showing the world what he can do, and just a heartbreak from that he got hurt the way he did. But we rallied around him. We kind of knew that since he could do it, we have to do it for him. So it was awesome. And then just having the ability to have him back. I mean, just he's the best guy to have around, and not only on the floor but in the room too. I mean, just having the ability to have him on every single weekend, knowing that he's going to be there, it's just awesome to see him there and seeing him kind of interact with the guys. And it's really great to see him kind of bring everyone up around him, because he's such a positive guy. He's such a fun-loving guy. He loves to be around the fellas, and the fellas love to be around him. So we're happy to have him back. And I mean, you saw it. We're 10 games in, and he's just back to old Flying Ryan, right? He's awesome to watch out there.
You're like the sniper from the outside. Have you thought about, like, Ryan is, they call him Flying Ryan for a reason. He seems to love and to dive across the crease and whatnot. Have you ever thought about that part of the game, or the fact that you play up high? Does that not really lend to it too much? Or, dude, it doesn't look like it feels good to go. I mean, a bit on that turf. I don't think I'd want to be wearing a bunch of rug burns, quite honestly, from doing all that diving. But what helps shape your game for being the sniper more than the diver, I guess, if you will?
I think it's just repetition and practice. Andy, I'm going to be honest with you, and you might not believe me, and the people listening might not, but I think I could be a little Flying Ryan, a little bit heavier and a little bit. I don't have as high of a takeoff, but I'll get across. I might slide on my belly, but no, the outside game, it's kind of my bread and butter. It's what I'm known for, and it's what I'm good at, and I do love to shoot from the outside. And I think the key to that is just repetition. Just out late at night, early in the morning, whatever it is. Just you got a ball, you got a net, and I mean, it's always fun to sting that top right corner, that top left, or to go bar down, but to do it as hard as you can, or to do it harder and harder and harder every time. That's something I strive and pride myself on, is to be able to hit that spot every single time, no matter what speed I'm shooting. So, I mean, it happened that, you know, I shoot from the outside and it happens to go in, and sometimes I back up and sometimes it keeps going in. So I don't want to put my luck too much, because I think Patty's going to get mad at me, but I've been successful and I've been lucky this year. So just keep at it and just keep working at it, and good things are going to come.
I love that you called it luck. You've scored a lot of goals for it to be lucky. I'll just put it that way. You're not usually lucky when you're putting them in at the numbers that you're putting them in at. I'm kind of, so our friend Romy Bean was out at your shoot around last home game prior to Toronto. You probably saw her out there wearing the backup goalie gear and watching. What's that?
I said she was suiting up. She was itching to get out there.
Did you watch Eli and Ryan shoot on her? Eli and Ryan stuck around and shot on her.
I didn't see the end of it, though. No, she was asking questions, but she was super excited to go in. She looked a little nervous, not going to lie, but no, she looked super excited to have those pads on and finally get going.
Well, so it's funny. You talk about the field game being in Georgia. I still am learning stuff about the box game every year that I get to work with you guys, right? And what I thought was interesting, you know, I was standing closer to Ryan as Eli took his shots, and I noticed both of them trying to angle it, you know, ricochet it in 5-hole off the shin pads. And I guess from where we sit, because we're top of Pepsi Center or Ball Arena, we sit at the top of the building. So I can't always tell exactly where you guys are aiming. And I asked Dylan about it and I asked Ryan about it. And they both said, yeah, we aim for that every now and again. How often are you, from where you shoot, are you ever looking to put it in off a leg pad like that? Or are you just trying to get it clean through?
I don't want to say I'm looking to get leg pad in. I know there might be a little bit of contact with the goalie when I shoot the ball, but definitely if there's a spot that I'm looking to hit, obviously I'm going to hit it. But then there's also other times where I know the goalie's going to step if I drop my stick a certain way, and I know that if he steps this way, then his stick, which is there now, isn't going to be there much longer. So it kind of varies depending on which goalie you face and what type of shot you want to do. But it's definitely – it feels really nice when you kind of put something in your head and it actually works out in the game. And instead of looking a little bit like a fool when you go, I know he's going to move his 5-hole, and then you just transition the other way and you go, oh no, I better run off. So, but no, I think it varies.
Have you liked, we notice, and again, it's why I love having both Jamie and John and Eric Law, having the eyes of the guys that have played on the broadcast with me, but it feels like you guys have done, I'll just call it a little more of a field set on the power play, where sometimes you send a guy to X. Feel like we maybe saw it the first couple games more, but you're definitely trying to get the goalie to turn around and look at different angles, right, or whatnot. Have you enjoyed that little element? Have you enjoyed the little twist? I think one time you even went a diamond, didn't you? Like, you've changed up the looks a little bit this year. Have you liked that compared to years past, where it felt like it was just sort of the same kind of idea?
Yeah, I think so. I think sometimes our power play struggles a little bit, especially earlier in the year. So we decided to mix it up. And I mean, it's just another cool formation that we do. It doesn't matter if we're, you know, regularly set up or we throw someone in the middle or someone behind. It's just the 5 guys out there are so talented, where we can kind of rotate kind of seamlessly into any which formation we want. It's quite nice. And it's just to give the other team another look. Some things it might work, sometimes it might not, but just to give them another look, see what happens. And I mean, we got guys like Eli and Zeddy, you give them the ball and anywhere on the floor, front, behind, wherever, good things are going to happen.
You guys are playing Vegas this week. They're not having the season they want to, but I also know you guys can't really take any team in this league lightly, right? And Vegas, it feels like Vegas comes in here, feeds off the energy, and they always seem to play well when they've been in town. What do you make of Vegas?
No, I think you said it. I think they've done a lot of good things, but got unlucky on the scoreboard. And last weekend was it was tough for them going into Calgary and losing the way they did. So we gotta keep our heads on straight. Like I said before, like it doesn't matter what the records are. You see Toronto, who was 1-5, and then they ended up beating a bunch of people and going on a little run. I don't think records mean a lot nowadays, especially kind of, it doesn't matter when you are in the season. So you're dying over there.
Yeah, it's still, I'm trying to get it off me right now.
No, it's good. It was a good little play. But no, we got to stay focused. I know they're going to come in and they're going to want to, because nobody likes losing, right? They're going to come in and want to play their style of lacrosse, and we just got to stick to our game plan and stick to what's made us successful these past few games is just sticking to Mammoth lacrosse.
What do you make of Jack Hanna? You know, a DU kid. We always like to highlight the DU kids when they roll through town. Why? He's an American player, right? Like, what's the difference between a guy picking it up fast and not when they get to the box game? Because I've said it before, it was the Duke coach's kid came through town, and I'm completely spacing his name, but a good lacrosse family, good lacrosse background. And I just remember his kid just never really, and this we're talking like the late 2000s, maybe early 2010s, just never really translated to the box game. What is it getting an exposure to it? Is it because Matt Brown was his coach? What's the difference there for an American player to transition quickly?
I'm sure Brownie definitely probably had a big part in it. You know, having a guy like that growing up and kind of showing you the ropes, and it's just the little things you pick up along the way that really make the difference in the long run. That so many kind of people, and even people who have watched lacrosse their whole lives, they might not pick up on. And I think it's just kind of one of those things where some people just have that gift of being able to pick something up and be a natural at it. And I mean, Hannah's got the skills from playing field, and I mean, you see his first couple of years in box, and some of the plays he makes are just absolutely out of this world. But I think it's going to get better and better the more Canadians and the more Americans that are exposed to box lacrosse start teaching the younger kids younger and younger, and I think that's going to make a big difference. And I think you're going to see a lot more American guys kind of coming into the league in the next 5, 10, 15 years because they've had that coaching from, you know, the Canadians and the Americans who have stayed down after their NL careers.
All right, I'm curious if you and this is kind of an out of left field question, but it was just something I noticed. I watched the Georgia game back last night. I'm going to watch the Vegas game here a little bit because I was just watched the last two games everyone played. Look to me, and I guess I picked up on this because I used to notice it with John Grant, even from when Junior started fiddling with his stick. I knew he was frustrated, right? Even on the bench. Will Malcolm had some really great shots. I mean, really quality looks, and it looked like he was talking to himself a little bit. Do you talk to the young guy at all? Everybody goes through it, right? I mean, it's not like he was tearing it up. He had the 7-goal game earlier in the year. He just was having a rough night the other night, but I saw him like he just had that look like he was maybe in his head the other day. Do you ever go over and say anything to him?
No, I think Will and I have a good relationship. It extends kind of years before the Mammoth, growing up in just a couple blocks from each other. Our older brothers playing together, so we've seen each other. But he's such a special player, and you saw that the first game in the Loud House putting up 7. That's the type of player he is, and I mean, you can't put 7 up every night. And if you do, you're gonna be the best player of all time. You're going to be the best player in the world. So Will's going to find his game. I mean, he might not score one night. He might score a bunch one night, but he's so good at what he does. And the fact that he still stays positive and he still kind of sticks to his game. And the best we can do is just, you know, encourage him and encourage Will to be Will. And he's the best. And get him his nerd clusters and get him his Diet Cokes. So he loves those too. Loves them. And
I didn't know what a nerd cluster was.
You want an exclusive interview with Will? Get him a bag of nerd clusters. You have anything you want.
We might have to bribe him, Connor. We might have to bribe him to get him on this show.
Leave material of clusters into a dark room, and he'll follow you in
there. I like that he drinks Diet Coke. That's positive. Hey, real quick, couple more. I'll get you out of here. Pigeon. I learned what pigeon means in hockey today. You throwing pigeons out at each other? No. when you're chirping on the lacrosse floor, does it mean the same thing because there's so much crossover between the two sports? I had no idea it was such an insult.
Yeah, no, I think it means the same thing. I was never a hockey guy growing up, so I never used pigeon before. But no, I've heard it thrown around once or twice, but it definitely not. I don't think that's a regular one that gets thrown around. I think that stays to the ice.
What do you guys have? What's
that?
Well, honestly, I hadn't either. They had Marchand mic'd up at the Four Nations.
Yeah.
And he called someone from Finland a pigeon, and the ref like shot in and was like, don't be calling anybody a pigeon. So we went and found a video with Nathan McKinnon of all people on it and Shifley, and they were both talking about how a pigeon is the last thing you want to be because you're just like an observer, you're just a passenger, you're just sitting there, you know, and I guess they take pictures and all that kind of crap. Is there an ultimate insult on the floor that you can, like, what don't you want to be called then in box?
You know, I try to stay away from the chirping and the hooting and hollering. I think I get a little bit too too into it, and so I try my best to stay away completely. But there's a couple of good ones. I know there's a couple guys in the league they have some pretty funny chirps, and they're pretty clever with the insults. But for the most part, I think our team's pretty quiet and pretty let's let our playing do the talk type of, so to speak.
All right, last one for you. Have you been into the Four Nations? I was talking to Dylan last week. We were having to wrap it up because he needed to go see what Canada and Sweden were doing. But have you been into the Four Nations at all?
I have, yeah. Big one Thursday. Big one tomorrow. Big one.
Okay.
The country might fold if we lose. We lost. Did you see what we did in the World Juniors? We lost in the quarterfinals. So if we lose here, they might just launch every single executive from Hockey Canada into outer space. Mark my words.
See, I'm laughing here, Connor, because look, I'll admit to you, I was like, I don't like the Kachucks. I don't like a lot of the American players because I'm an Avs fan, dude. I'm really a hardcore Avs fan. So they got Makar, they got Taze, they got my guys, they got McKinnon, right? So I was like, oh, I'll root for Canada. I got no problem with that. And then the booing of the anthem started and all that. And then, of course, you're just kind of like, well, how dare you? I've got it. You can't boo my home state. So I don't know how I'm going to. All I want is for everybody to get out of this okay, Connor. I'm really worried someone's going to get hurt, which is the last thing. Because I'm glad you guys want the it's a made-up trophy. At the end of the day, I want the damn cup. I don't care about this stupid trophy.
Yeah, no, you put the jerseys on and you get the guys' hearts pumping a little bit faster. And I think it's a way better alternative than the All-Star game and in years past what they did. But, I mean, you got to love it. The passion of each countryman, whether it's Canada, U.S., or Finland or Sweden, like all the games have been electric. All the games have been awesome. I know it's all the guys have been talking about. I know we're super excited, and I know we don't have many Americans on the team, but Joe, our ops guy, he's been giving us a lot of grief. So I'm really hoping the Canadians take it so we can give it to him during practice tomorrow night.
Well, that'll be perfect. I keep thinking for Austin Matthews, I'm like, man, it's gonna be a little bit weird going back to Toronto, or Hellebuck going back to Winnipeg. Man, you're always awesome. We love having you on, brother. We may hit you up one more time. I'm finding out there's about 7 media stars on this team, which is fine. So
who's the best one so far? Who's the one you're most happily surprised by?
Surprised? See, I always knew you and Ryan Lee were great interviews. You know who my favorite is? You're all my favorites, but Owen Down was great. We had on Dalton, the defenseman. Yes, he was on last week. He was hilarious. But our guy Moose, man, Warren Jeffrey is low because he's so quiet when I'm around him. But when we had him on beginning of and we were going to have him on tonight, but they had the gala going on, and I was a little worried we might have had a little too much of the free open bar. And so we couldn't do that. So I'm glad we were able to get you on. I don't know, man. You guys, look, I think lacrosse and hockey players are the same, right? I think at the end of the day, all fans want are guys that they can relate to, and I think that's what you guys are. So do you have a weirdo teammate I should talk to? Who would be my toughest interview, in your opinion, if I got him on?
The toughest interview?
Like, because you know how it is. I need guys that can talk. We don't want to have a staring contest.
No,
that's not entertaining to anybody. Who would probably be the toughest to get to chat?
You know what? I'll get back to you on that. There's a couple good ones, and I think we have a couple young guys who have a lot of personality and are just starting to show it. So I think you got to get some of the young guys on, one of the rookies maybe Wit Dog or Cookie. But no, all the new guys this year, they got a lot of personality to them, and they're great additions. And we're happy to have the squad we are as we come into the second half of the season.
All right, brother, lock in. I know you will. Are you psyched? Hey, I got to ask you this. They probably don't want me to. Let's say the game tomorrow doesn't go your way. Are you going to refuse to wear the Captain America jersey Friday?
No, I'll wear it.
Okay. All right.
They still haven't sent us a photo of it, and I really want to see what it looks like. I
think it'll look pretty cool. It's a good color scheme, so.
I saw a sneak at the helmets. The helmets look awesome, so I can't wait to see the jerseys.
There was a minor league hockey team that did fishing day, and they all looked like they were in fishing gear. So at least it's not that. So
that would
anyway,
have been great.
Yeah,
that would have been great.
Well,
was a
you
couple.
know
There
what?
was a
Pitch it to marketing.
Well, we were trying to get a couple superheroes that we could pitch to the team, see if they could do it, but they shut us down. We were trying to go with Morbius and have a little Morbius night. I thought that would have been awesome. Have you seen that movie?
I haven't. No.
Horrendous, awful. One of the worst. But give it a watch.
Your ringing endorsement doesn't have me running to Disney Plus or whatever. All right, man. We'll you know what? We'll leave it at that because I want to get you out on a proper time for once. But appreciate you. We'll talk to you Friday, Connor.
All good. Sounds good. Chat Friday.
That's our guy, Connor Robinson. All right. I think Jamie's been coaching. Honestly, folks, I'm a little haphazard. I got to make sure our guy Jamie knows we're still doing it. Okay, 8 o'clock Wednesdays. Come and join us. Hopefully, a lot of you found the channel all right. Judging by the numbers, looks like we did all right here tonight. We will continue to have a number of players on. We're going to hook up with Warren Jeffrey again. Try to get Eli on at some point. I think we've gotten a lot of the team on. We had a night a couple weeks ago, if you missed it, where they were all out of practice, and that's when we got Dalton and we got Gillis and a whole bunch of the guys. So anyway, big night coming up, Friday night game this week. Don't miss it. Get out there. There's still tickets. Matter of fact, let me find the Mammoth tweet. If you go to Altitude Authentics, you can get some of the special shirts that they've got made already. And honestly, they're pretty sweet. But there's one where you can buy a ticket, plus you get this special superhero shirt that I'll try to show the camera real quick. There it is, the Marvel Knight shirt. So let me go ahead and put that up there like that. Hopefully you could see that okay, but you can see that's a pretty cool shirt with the tickets. Just go ahead and make sure you go and get your tickets. And then here's a couple more items that they'll have available. There's that one if you'd like it. Again, Captain America is their theme. And there's also that one. So all those will be at Altitude Authentics. Imagine one of them will be the item of the game. Get on out there again. Friday night game. Come and see us. The Mammoth need to keep they've got the winning going. They need to get the streak going again. And then it's playoff push time as we tick down the last part of this NLL season. Mammoth have a game this Friday. They'll have a game March 1st. That's a week from Saturday. They got 2 in April. So we're down to about 4 home games. Make sure you get out and see them. And then hopefully we have some playoff action here. If they can keep playing like they have been, love to see them host a playoff game. You guys take care. We'll talk to you next week on Mammoth After Hours.